Okay, good afternoon, everybody. I noticed we're competing with the women, so there's not as many women here. So I feel we're discriminated against, but for once the change is the opposite way. This afternoon I'd like to share our experience in the entrepreneurial environment and what we've gone through and how can it be tied in with the U.S.-Japan Council. First of all, I'll just give you a little briefing of our company. October 1st, we'll be celebrating our 25th year. We're an automotive supplier. I'm the founder, and we supply wire harness, electronic modules, and electromechanical devices to Ford, GM, and Chrysler. So we're about $220 million in sales. We have about 1,700 employees. We also serve the automotive appliance market, the appliance, and the communication market. These are some of the products that we produce. So everything you see in the car, we produce some parts in the car. Everything from, we did produce some of the OnStar product. We're now on some of the sync programs at Ford. And some of the body controller, and I think you'll see all the cars going to 6-speed transmissions, and we're very, very involved in that. We're also in the energy environment area. We provide some smart grid electronic modules and some of the appliance you see from Whirlpool. We supply products there also. Our customer base is pretty wide, as you can see, Fortune 100 companies, U.S. and global companies. We're located, we're headquarters in Michigan. We have a plant in Michigan. We have 2 plants in Mexico and a plant in Suzhou, China, and also an engineering center in the Philippines. So we've had to work on being global. But with that, let's get on to the entrepreneurship and the innovation. We'll just review some of the challenges that the U.S. has, and there's a reason for going into this, but I won't go to each one individually, but you can read faster than I can speak. But clearly the U.S., we have some issues that we have to overcome. Certainly our trade deficit, the huge government debt, the aging baby boomers, and high consumer debt. Now when we look at Japan challenges, they have some similar type challenges. The aging population, decreased population, students, as some of the panelists discussed, aren't leaving Japan. They're staying within Japan. They have huge government deficit. The yen is very strong, and then the last item, which gets to the topic, is they have a low level of new entrepreneurs, which when we look at that, then we say, well, what do we have in common? We've had a long-term relationship. I think my 65 years was wrong. That should have been 50, so I stand corrected in that. We both have mature economies. We have strong intellectual property. Exporting is important for both of us. And we do have a very mature business ethics, and that is very important in terms of the global business environment. So what does that mean? That means that there are opportunities. As we look at both countries, it's so easy to point out all the issues we have, but let's talk about the opportunities. Japan has historically not been such an entrepreneurial organization or country, so there's an opportunity to promote that in Japan. Secondly, Japan has a lot of intellectual property. We talked about green energy and energy conservation. Well, Japan is quite a bit ahead of the U.S. in certain areas there, and that's certainly a technology that we can expand. There's potential to expand venture capital to Japan for some of the entrepreneurs. I spoke to one of our attendees, and he's the only venture capitalist in Japan right now. So there's not a lot of venture capital.
In clean technology.
In clean technology, I'm sorry, yeah. So, if we can capitalize on this, and the other thing we have is most of the work that we're going to see, or the collaboration, the larger companies are going to collaborate by themselves. They're going to form their ventures and their alliances and that. But on a smaller scale, if you look at the companies in Japan, they have historically been vertically integrated to the parent company. So in that context, they have not expanded outside of Japan. So that is a problem, a major problem on entrepreneurship in Japan. The second thing in Japan is that if you fail, that's disastrous in Japan. If you fail, it's like you're out. You can't come back into the business. Whereas in the U.S., you fail, you shut down your company, you start up another one. You know? And you have to fail 2 or 3 times before you become successful. So that's an issue that we have to overcome. And one of the opportunities I see is that if the small companies within Japan and the U.S. can collaborate in terms of the U.S. bringing entrepreneurship and some of the small Japanese companies or younger Japanese engineers or technical people that want to start a business, that if we can get these people together to start talking and discussing entrepreneurship, there's exciting opportunities. So what we would propose, I think, something to consider is if we can take some of the venture capitalists from Silicon Valley and have a forum where we could bring some of the younger entrepreneurs from Japan or from the larger corporations in Japan or some of the IT guys that, now the younger ones, again, in Japan will be more mobile, more receptive to taking a look at new approaches to starting business. So if we can get this group with the venture capitalists together and have an exchange both in the U.S. and also Japan, we can at least start to formulate that exchange. And along with that, we can start to set up a network to actually, and I think the U.S.-Japan Council can really act as a catalyst to, in the next session, to at least put that forum together that you could exchange the networking of entrepreneurs to venture capitalists, and then try to take some of the technology and merge them together. Because this is going to build the trust, and clearly that's one of the traits between the Japanese companies and the U.S. companies in terms of business relationship. It takes a long time to develop trust. I haven't said this, but I worked a long time on a project where actually a bank in Japan has a 15% interest in our company, Saturn Electronics, but that took a long time to develop. You had to develop the relationship. But again, this is going to take time, but we got to get started someplace and sometime. And then I think we need to work with the cultural difference of with the younger entrepreneurs and to say that, hey, failure may be okay. Some of us are going to fail, but it's okay. And that's where I think working with the venture capitalists and some of the entrepreneurs, the Japanese American in the U.S., to say, hey, it's okay, you got to try, let's work together, let's take some of the green and clean and energy efficient technology from Japan, let's get some U.S. entrepreneurs together and form alliances and start to work together either in a joint venture or collaborative relationship. So I really think that's a good approach to at least get us to working together, especially in a small and medium-sized business. Because again, the large companies are going to go around the world regardless. You know, the Denzos, the Panasonic, Sony, they're going to go where they're going to go. But where do the small and medium-sized companies in Japan go? And looking at the global environment, this is certainly the wave of the future. So this would be a super opportunity for both the U.S. and Japan to come together with the younger people and create some new enterprises and, you know, solve both of our problems in providing growth for each country. So with that, and, you know, again, we covered the benefits of working together. So thank you very much.